Dre Spectre Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, show your boy some love. Hey, and don't forget, hit that bell notification, that way you can keep up to date on the latest content from my channel. Dre Spectre Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Hey, this gonna be a little bit different than what y'all think, man. This is not the typical response you probably would think. That everybody is pretty much giving a lot of praise to Jermall Charlo for the job that he did tonight, and I'm gonna give him a lot of praise because he did what he was supposed to do. At the end of the day, he got the knockout win. It was a great win for him, a good win for his resume. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna break down the fight how I seen it. I actually watched this fight without the commentators. I watched this fight just basically dry, no volume. And I really did like look at this fight for what it was. And it was a lot of things that I seen out of Jermall Charlo that this was not a good performance. And it's a lot of red flags that I seen that you guys probably didn't see. And if you go back and look at it, you probably would see it a little bit different after I kind of point some things out to you. Okay, so since Jermall Charlo came up from 154, being a champion, vacating, and went to 160. He's been, in my opinion, he's been doing a lot of headhunting. He's been looking for the knockout a lot. And I believe that is working to, the detriment of, his boxing ability. I don't think he's been progressing over those last few fights. And let me tell y'all, is this not hating on Jermall Charlo? I'm from Houston. Jermall Charlo, the Charlo twins, some of my favorite fighters. I've been following these guys' careers since I think somewhere around 2012-ish, 2013, something like that. When they first started debuting on Showtime, I really started paying a lot of close attention to those guys, man. I've been following their career and rooting for these guys. And I want to see the best out of Jermall Charlo. But let me tell you again, since he stepped up to 160, I think that he hasn't been progressing. And the reason why, it looks like he's doing a lot of headhunting. And I don't think that in his training camps that they're fixing some of the problems that he has. He hasn't been patient and letting the fight come to him. He's been chasing knockouts, and he's even alluded to it in post-fight interviews where he said, "I was looking for the knockout. I was looking for the knockout." It's repetitive. He's always looking for the knockout, whether he's getting it or not. Is not the thing. It's the way that he's fighting. During the fight. So I felt like he was overextending himself tonight. Every time that Hogan was out of range, he was following behind Hogan. He was, swinging wildly, man. He threw so many wild, looping, missing shots. And these were hard power shots. And it's like he's headhunting. He's just trying to, land one of those hard power shots because he could put the guy down. But that is not gonna win versus upper echelon competition. And I want to see this guy be a unified champion. I don't want to see this guy chasing Canelo. Canelo may never come back down to 160. He's having fun picking out any fight that he wants between 160 and 175 right now. So it's not a given that Canelo comes back and fights for or challenges any of those guys at 160, having to drop that weight after he's getting so comfortable at 168 or 175, wherever he wants to campaign now. So I would like to see Jermall Charlo get to a mindset of unifying, becoming a unified champ. And Andrade is a guy that's that should be on the radar to unify with. But again, like I was saying, I feel like he's not progressing. And I believe this guy is so athletically and skillful, very athletically talented, a very skillful boxer, very balanced boxer, that he can make these fights a lot easier. That knockout could come a lot easier if he would use fundamentals, cut off the ring, walk these guys down, cutting them off, letting his hands go, keeping him at the end of that sharp jab. I think he has one of the best jabs in the game, like very sharp, hard jab. And he really commits to that jab. And I think that would be very ideal for him. One thing that I do believe is it may be time for Jermall Charlo, and he probably doesn't see this because he's winning, to find a new trainer. I believe that, in my opinion, his trainer has taken him as far as he probably can. And it worked wonders for Jermall Charlo by switching trainers, which got him to see things from a different aspect. And Jermall actually was a very beautiful boxer and did a lot of movement, but he never really sat down on his power. And I think that now you see Jermall increase of knockouts has been because he's learned to sit down on his power a little bit more, have a little bit more patience, walking these guys down. And I think that Jermall, it's about time for him to separate and, maybe bring some new energy into his camp. Like I say, he hasn't been progressing at 160. And another part of that non-progression is not just his training, because the guy's super trained. Like, he's very much in shape. You can see he's a physical specimen. The guy is really filled out at 160. He's probably one of the bigger guys at 160, size-wise still. And very sharp at 160. The other thing about him fighting at 160 has been his opposition. He's fighting lower class opposition, and you don't have to, when you're so skillful and you're so talented, you don't have to work on certain aspects of defense and offense, because the base offense that you're using is getting to these guys. But when you talk about going to go fight a Canelo or any of the other champions, you're gonna want to be able to bring your A game and have an A level progressed offense or progressed defense. And I don't believe that he's been doing that, fighting the competition that he's been fighting and actually fighting the style that he's been fighting. He's been doing a lot of head hunting. You can go back and watch the last 3 fights that he's had at middleweight, and you'll see the reason he's trying to knock these guys out, and it is fundamentally hard to watch at times, because you see him so fundamentally sound when he's very balanced and snapping that jab, and then he starts to reach and lunge. He does a lot of reaching and lunging and a lot of wild misses. And it's because he's trying to time these guys. He's headhunting. He's trying to, seek these guys out. But if he can break these guys down to the body, maybe step around a little bit more, give them different angles, man, this guy could be a beast. And when I say he could be a beast, man, I really do, because he's athletically enough. He's powerful enough. He's very quick and speed. And I'm telling you, he has one of the best jabs in the game. I believe if he can put all his tools together, man, this guy could be unstoppable at 160. I'm talking about a beast. And just to give a little more about Jermall Charlo, I think he is the best at 160 easily. Chris Eubank Jr. is barking up the wrong tree when he's chasing after Jermall Charlo. Chris Eubank Jr. is just not as groomed. He's not as he's probably as athletic, but he's probably not as talented as Jermall Charlo at 160 pounds. I like Chris Eubank Jr.'s output in athleticism and quickness, speed, but fundamentally, he's not a fundamentally sound fighter. He's not very balanced. He gets very wild at times, and that gets him in a lot of trouble. But all in all, I want to congratulate Jermall Charlo on a great performance tonight. He did what he had to do against lesser opposition, the guy coming up from 154 to 160. And he did what he was supposed to do. He got rid of him, and the guy was talking shit. I heard about in the post-conference, post-fight conference, all the shit the guy was talking. He deserved everything that he got tonight. Hit the guy with a beautiful uppercut. Man, that should be a bread and butter punch for him. That's the same punch that that knocked out the Philly guy. I'm running blank, but you guys know what I'm talking about. The highlight knockout that he had at 154. That's the same punch that knocked him out, that sharp uppercut. And I think that's a very good tool he should sharpen up and work on. But again, I think Ronnie Shields has probably taken Jermall Charlo as far as he probably can take him. And sometimes you need to see that you get so loyal to these guys, but you need to see that you need to sharpen your game up and you need to be a lot better. In the last 3 fights that he's had at middleweight, I think it's 4 fights, it's just I haven't seen a progression through those fights. I've been seeing the same Jermall Charlo every time out, and I think it's about time for him to find some new energy into his camp. And if you go back and look at that fight from tonight, you'll see all the lunging and reaching. Man, he's too far advanced in his career to be doing the type of lunging and reaching that could possibly become habitual and get him in trouble in bigger fights. Hey, this is Dre Spective. That's all I got for you today. I just wanted you guys to see that what I seen tonight. If you go back and look at that fight, I think you'll probably see some of the stuff that I'm saying. It's not a knock on Jermall Charlo. It's actually a call to see if he could fix some of these problems now before he steps up into the championship rounds and not look his best, not look his sharpest, because he's making some habitual mistakes, and I don't want him to make it habit. I think that he should find a trainer that can fix some of those mistakes on offense and fix some of those mistakes that he has on defense. And if he can, man, this guy has the tools to be the best at 160, easily, hands down. That's Dre Spector Boxing, and that's all I got for you. I'm out.
Dre Spector Boxing here with another video. As always, like, comment, subscribe, show your boy some love. Hey, and don't forget, hit that bell notification, that way you can keep up to date on the latest content from my channel.